Good morning. I'm Maria Nicolau, and I will be one of your facilitators for this 5-day course in Finland. Unfortunately, I cannot be with you physically for some reasons, so I have to stay back here in Jakarta. But rest assured, with the presence of my friend, partner, and co facilitator, Antonija, she will be able to help you out in terms of your needs and your queries all throughout this 5-day course. So the session that you're going to have in the next few days is basically focused on the inclusive learning spaces. The objectives for session one are basically to share ideas with peers to gain new insights on improving inclusive learning spaces and reflect on how your own learning spaces support different learning styles and emotional needs, and hopefully identify areas for improvement that you will be able to take away at the end of the 5-day course for your own workplaces. For the first activity, it's more on getting to know you. I think it's quite important that we have to build that sense of connection, foster a sense of community, and also to acknowledge the diversity of culture. Based on the list of Jonga, I think we have around 7 countries joining all together. So we all want to know the best practices that you have, the challenges that you encountered, and we'll have to learn from one another. So, based on this, we'll have a small group activity, a small group which is composed of around 3 to 4 individuals. And I hope that within the group, there should be different nationalities joining together. And in the group, each participant will introduce themselves, what is the role or the shall we say position that you are at your school or the organization that you're in, what country, what school are you coming from, and let's make it a little bit challenging by saying a memorable or meaningful learning space that you've encountered or created in school or in your own organization. Try to describe that using your senses, the sound, the feel, the taste that you have, and what makes this learning space stand out for you. So that will be the activity that you're going to do out there in around 5 minutes. So I'll give the floor to Tonka to take over. Thank you. Today's activity, Getting to Know You, invites you to reflect on the spaces that have shaped you, on how you learn, you teach, and even connect with other individuals. As you listen to each other's stories, you've noticed how diverse experience shape what you see as welcoming, as empowering, and as engaging. And because of these stories, that will guide us in thinking about what truly makes a learning space inclusive for all the students, for all the abilities, and for the diverse cultures that they are in. Allow me to acknowledge the description or the definition of inclusive learning space from the government of South Australia. This is Department for Education. And it says that inclusive learning space considers the physical, academic, behavioral, and social aspects of learning for all the learners. And setting up an inclusive learning area is an important element for successful learning outcomes. A learning space that is set up intentionally will encourage engagement, routine, inclusion, and positive behavior. It will also prevent or reduce the academic and behavioral difficulties. What does this passage tell us? or highlights to all of us. This means that an inclusive learning environment is not limited to the physical elements of the classroom layout, such as classroom layout or the furniture that the organization or the school has. Instead, it encompasses the holistic approach that includes academic, social, behavioral aspects of all the learners. Academically, it involves practices like differentiated instruction, accessible resources, and curriculum adaptation that cater to diverse learning needs. In terms of behavior, it promotes uh, positive conduct and through clear instruction and consistent support. And for social, I believe for the social aspect, it fosters sense of belonging, positive relationship, emotional well-being. So in this sense, the inclusivity therefore means intentionally designing and managing learning spaces in a way that addresses the full range of students' needs physically, emotionally, socially, and behaviorally to create this sense of environment where every learner can thrive. Allow me to make use of our school as an example of physical aspect on how we promote the inclusive learning spaces. So just to give you an idea, our school has 3 towers, and in each tower, there are actually 8 floors, and in each floor, the teachers, the students, and the grade level coordinator, they have to ensure that the corridors are well decorated to fit the learning styles of their students. So allow me to give the glimpse of the corridors in our school. So this is the first one. If you can see, tall chairs, high tables, and the students believe that a Starbucks ambience or a coffee shop ambience would enhance their learning style. And those are. So they use this one during the recess, during small group activity in school. And then this one is basically another level, a grade level. I think this one is for grade 6. And you can see the style that they have. They have their bin bags, they have their carpets, they can sit on the carpet, they can sit on their sofa, have a chit chat, have group activities. And we can see that the engagement is really so fluid among the students if they have this, shall we say, something like comfortable environment that they authored by themselves. And this one, I think it's obvious that this one is primary level. Decorations all over these places. And of course, they have the tables there for discussion or even when they play their Uno cards during recess time. Allow me to use the physical aspect of the classrooms in our school. So the one that you can see here is the middle school classroom. Try to notice the walls and the tables. Walls and tables, teachers and students can write on them. So it's a paperless school, a paperless classroom, wherein interaction is taking place from different corners of the classroom. And the school also promotes this student agency, small group activities. So, in that sense, they can somehow move the tables around, put the tables in group, for example, for group activity, group discussion at the same time. And this one is for the kindergarten. If you can see, they have a different setup. But usually for kindergarten groups, they have carpets in front, small tables, small chairs, and a lot of decorations that they themselves did. This is still physical aspect of the inclusive learning space, but we focus this time in the library because I believe we have a good number of librarians present at this time, and you also would like to know how other schools from different countries set up their own library. So the first picture that you can see here is a PYP library, a primary year program library for small kids. Small sofas, small tables, and they make use of this space for discussion, small group discussion, for sharing stories during break time or even dismissal time. And if you can also see, there are some students who are also studying there independently. And what makes the atmosphere nice is they have this positive response for the library because of the timetabled sessions that they have every week. So teachers and assistant teachers bring the students to the library to borrow books, to return books. So that kind of responsibility of borrowing and returning is within them. And also the kind of sharing the stories, because in the library they also share stories with their friends. We encourage a small group activity wherein students share stories with other students within their class when they are in the library. So this is for the students, for the teachers, or even parents who are coming in. And this is another one. If you can see this, hopefully. Okay, hold on. Okay. This one is in the middle school. And what I would like to share with you with this is the bean bag that makes the students more comfortable and relaxed in reading. This is quite interesting to share because these two boys are good friends. And the one reading the story is always inviting the other boy, and then the other boy is an autistic kid, and both of them, they always go to the library. And when I had a chance to ask the boy who's reading, how come you like to tell a story or to read a story for your friend? And you know what the response was? Miss, this is an affirmation that I know how to read, that I can convey the message across. While the other student keeps on asking questions, keeps on making, sensible questions on the sense that critical thinking aspect, that communication skills are developed in the process fluidly without them knowing about these things. And the other one is this: a space for them to relax, a space for them to interact with each other. So before, this was an audiovisual room, but then with the gadget that the students are having at this time, I think it's high time that we have to reevaluate how can we make the physical spaces more functional for the students. And this is also in PYP. Okay, carpets are there, mirrors are there. It's quite nice to have mirrors around because the girls, the small kids, become more, they look at themselves in the mirror, they become more conscious about their physical appearance. And I think that makes sense for them. And it's a happy scenario in that sense. Still in the physical aspect, library spaces. From the previous slide, I mentioned about the importance of functional areas. The same thing happens in this area. If you can see the long table out there, and then on top it's the globe. Way back 2 years ago, it that area was full of desktops. But I've noticed that the space is not being used way back then by the students because of all the desktops in front and only small space for them to write on something or to study when they're having their own laptops or even have their own notebooks. So what I did was to propose to the school management or leadership team that I wanted to convert this space into something more functional without a cost at all, but with the collaboration of the people around me, the building management, the engineering, because of the line, the connections, cable connections in terms of the usage of laptop when they want to charge all those things. And definitely the staff that I have who are suggesting, I think this one is best for us and all these things. And even for the sofas, I did not buy the sofa, but I think being I think as a librarian and a teacher, we have to be creative enough where to get those materials. So what I did was to go around school and find out what are the materials that are not really functional in other areas wherein I can still make use of that in my own area to enhance the physical aspect of the library. And then if you've noticed that there is still something like a trash can, but actually it looks like this. So it's a project from the grade 6 students that they have to gather dry papers and then ask someone, they're selling the dry papers and the money that they're collecting, they are donating that one to a less fortunate school at the back of our own institution, which I think it makes sense because it's not only making use of the physical space that we have, but at the same time encouraging all the other students who are coming to the library that whatever scratch paper that you have, you don't need to throw it in the trash can, but we have a special place to place those things, which we can find in the library. And because of that contribution of yours, we can support other students in terms of buying their books, in terms of giving them school supplies with the money that they have taken from those dry papers. And the other one, so this one is a small space, very small space. What I'm trying to say here is that every corner of the school or the library is being evaluated to ensure its functionality. 2 years or a year after, if that space is working well, what else can we improve on? If it's not working well, how are we going to convert it into something functional and more appealing to the students? So the physical aspect of the library and other school areas enhance the comfort level, the safety environment that the students have in terms of interaction, in terms of small group activities, in terms of bonding with friends during recess time or even their break times. The physical aspect of the inclusive learning space or environment is not only limited to layout or furniture. We can also explore the use of labels and visual updates. So the one that you can see here is a TV monitor. So TV monitors are displayed in different locations of the classroom or even along the corridors. So that this gives an idea for all the community, school community to know what are the events taking place for this month, for this day, and so on. And even monitors that can tell us the specific timetable of the students or even the pickup time of the nannies and drivers. This one is, you can see here, new collections or koleksi baru. It's bilingual by nature. The school's medium of instruction is English, but the school has to acknowledge the importance of the host country's language, which is Bahasa Indonesia, and also to ensure that parents who are not well versed in English will have full support to understand the content of the information. So bilingual displays are also shared in the in or within the school premises, and also with this one. So the tapping system, the physical aspect using labels and bilingual translations and all these things. So it means that if a student or anyone in school that has no access card or no ID has no possibility to go inside the building's premises. This is to ensure that the students are safe and the students' well-being are very much attended by the school community. I hope that session one gives you some insights or sparks on new ideas to further explore. So before you go for a break, let's have some reflection, individual reflection of uh, session one. And the question goes this way. If you could change one aspect of the physical layout of your learning space, think about your own environment way back in your school, way back in your country, and how will you encourage a more meaningful and engaging session? And what should it be? What should it be? Tonka will be giving out sticky notes. Please write your response in the sticky note and then share it with your friends. And after the session, maybe Tonka can gather the notes and then stick it on the wall and just for everyone to see later on during the gallery walk. Thank you, everyone. Tonka, take it away.